Hey guys, we're here today in Final Fantasy XIV, talking about some good activities to do if you are just now returning to the game. Maybe it's been a while for you and you just thought it'd be fun to jump back in, or you're coming back to prepare yourself for the launch of Endwalker in November. And like myself, maybe you came back to realize that you left the game with your story quest at a group dungeon, and you don't quite feel comfortable enough with your class or familiar enough to jump right into group activities. So we're going to go over and remind ourselves of 5 activities in the game that will help us get reacclimated to the combat and give us some rewards as we do it, so we don't waste our time just doing mindless side quests as we get comfortable with controls. Number 1 is Deep Dungeons. Here we're talking about Palace of the Dead and Heaven on High, depending on where you are at in the game. Palace of the Dead is accessed in the Quarry Mill in the South Shroud, and this is probably the best place to go if you are under 50. And if you jump in at floor 1, then the Deep Dungeon will start you at level 1 with only your beginning abilities, and you will slowly unlock them as you level up in the Palace of the Dead, giving you the perfect opportunity to unlock skills slowly and refamiliarize yourself with the class at a slow rate. The great thing about Deep Dungeons is once you feel more prepared, or if you're already somewhat familiar with your class, you can jump into Palace of the Dead at floor 51, or you can jump into Heaven on High if you have progressed to that point in Stormblood, and take on some higher difficulty content solo, or if you're jumping in with a random group, there's just not as much pressure to know your jobs or the mechanics. Number 2 would be to jump into hunts. There are company hunt boards once you hit level 50, and there are hunt boards in every expansion city, having the game show you targets to go after to earn a unique currency. This will help you get familiarized with the map again, traveling a little bit, and it will mark your hunt targets, so you know exactly what you're going to go do and kill. And the hunts have different difficulty levels, so you don't have to worry about taking on something too challenging for your class, and it will help you get familiarized with the combat again in a solo atmosphere and without much risk. If you have not progressed to that level yet, and you are still in the lower levels but are returning, then check out the Hunt Log. It can be accessed by clicking H on any of the classes from A Realm Reborn, and it will do the same thing, giving you targets to go hunt in particular zones, helping you to both familiarize yourself with the combat again and the map itself, all while providing pretty good rewards and experience. The third thing I would recommend doing if you're trying to get reacclimated to the combat is Guildhests. If you click U and open up your duty finder, you can do a random Guildhest from there, or you can select the Guildhest menu and do a particular one. Guildhests are used as mini training dungeons, so even though you'll be matched up with random players, it will help you slowly get acclimated to your job and responsibilities again in a much lighter atmosphere, and it will provide you with some decent rewards through the weekly challenges for Guildhests. The fourth activity I would do to make sure that we are being productive while we get reacclimated to the game is Beast Tribe quests. You do have to be into your 40s in order to access the first ones of these, and then there are beast tribes throughout every expansion. Most of the times these quests are easy and should not push you too far while you're relearning the controls. And it's also helpful to jump back into these quests since they have a limit you can do per day and have a daily reset timer, so if you're looking to get any of the mounts or other unlocks through the beast tribes, you can get a start on that right away and not waste any time. And the fifth activity I think is a good idea to jump right into is Fates. There's also a weekly challenge to complete a certain amount of Fates, so you can get some nice experience bonuses from that. Depending on what zone you're in, there can be a decent amount of players at them, which means you won't have too much responsibility or risk of death. And because the game will let you level sync down and do Fates below your level, it means they're pretty low risk. You can go to a lower level zone, sync yourself down when you enter the Fate area, and if you get in trouble, you can just run out of the area and unsync your level so that you don't die, letting you take it at your own pace. There are 2 things that I want to put in here as honorable mentions. If you have gotten to Shadowbringers to this point, keep in mind that you can enter any of the Shadowbringers dungeons with the trust system, taking it on with the NPCs as the other group members. That way you can try it and fail any dungeons and relearn your role without having to worry about letting down any other players or dealing with any embarrassment. You can access the trust system through the duty menu on your screen. Also keep in mind that through the same menu, you can access the Hall of the Novice again and repeat these. The Hall of the Novice is incredibly easy to accomplish and takes you through the very basics of MMOs and how their dungeons work for each role. But if it's been quite a while since you played the game, these can definitely be worth a refresher course and help you get comfortable with controls just a little bit. And the last thing I want to point out for anyone who has progressed to Heavensward or beyond is to make sure that you update your Wondrous Tales book at Chloe in Idyllshire. The Wondrous Tales is a sticker book that gives you activities to do throughout the week in order to gain various rewards. It's important to grab this as soon as you get back in and make sure you keep up with it, since a lot of the activities that we touched in this video can be in this sticker book. And again, this entire video is about not wasting our time as we get reacclimated. Ideally, we want to be doing activities that do benefit us and give us decent rewards while we get used to the game again, and before we jump back into group activities, the duty finder, or the main story quest. Hopefully this video was helpful to you and gave you some good ideas or reminded you of some of the content that there is in Final Fantasy XIV to jump right into, so you don't just lollygag about looking for mobs to kill. Thanks for watching, I will see you next time.